today is a day that a lot of people have been waiting for, myself included, because Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is now out, a movie that I and other people have been waiting a long time for, waiting since Endgame for, because there are a lot of Guardians of the Galaxy fans, again like myself, who thought they were going to be in Thor and make that movie a little bit better. They were in it for like 30 seconds. And it's funny to me that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 did not mention Thor a single time, even though in Endgame and Infinity War it was looking like he was going to be a member of Guardians of the Galaxy, but is immediately scrapped of that in the very next movie, which is just kind of a testament to how bad Love and Thunder is. But anyway, Guardians of the Galaxy is anything but bad. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is absolutely amazing. I mean, everything about it. The music is spot on. The story is... I'll talk about the story more. The directing, I'll talk about the directing a little bit more. But everything in it, the characters, everything in it is prime Marvel. This felt like for the first time in a very long time, this felt like a Phase 3, 2, or 1 Marvel movie. And felt like it's not being rushed and not being made in a factory. And not like fast food movies like Marvel has been pumping out recently. And that's all because of I'm fairly convinced that's all because of James Gunn. James Gunn is one of the best directors that we have in Hollywood today, if not the best. One of, if not the best directors, period, that we have in Hollywood today, but for sure the best superhero director. I mean, this guy, everything this guy makes is incredible. I mean, he's going over to DC, a studio that is not known for making great movies, and putting out stuff like Suicide Squad that is better than any Phase 4 Marvel movie except for Spider-Man. It's like... I mean, it's just unreal how talented this guy is at directing. And Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is no different. I mean, I don't know if he does any writing, but if he does, props to him again. I mean, just... I keep saying the word amazing, but it's because I can't think of any... I can't think of any other word, and nothing comes to mind. I mean, let's get into the story, actually, before I start really just dissecting it and telling you how amazing it is. So, the main story is revealing Rocket's backstory, which I won't get into because that's spoilers. I'll save that for spoiler talk. But Rocket's backstory is heartbreaking. I mean, probably the most heartbreaking thing that Marvel has ever made is Rocket's backstory. It's just... I mean, I probably can't even talk about it without tearing up. But the main story is that, I don't know how to say this, it's like Orgel or something, but he's the high evolutionist, or high evolution something. I think it's the high evolutionist, that's his name, is in charge of this, like, corporation that takes animals and, like, mutates them with, like, sometimes robots, and now, when Rocket was being experimented on, he was mutating them with robots. Now he's mutating animals with, like, people. But so this corporation is doing this to animals, and, Rocket, many years ago when he was younger, broke out of that, and that's how he became, like, who he is. So this guy sends the High Priestess and Adam Warlock after Rocket to kill him, and he basically does. It's not really a spoiler, but I mean, the whole plot in the movie is that Rocket is dying. and they need to basically save Rocket by reviving him partly, and also keeping the High Evolutionist away from Rocket. So that is the main story. And Rocket's backstory is not a main spoiler. I mean, the characters and stuff were in the trailers. So it's not really that big of a spoiler. But I guess if you don't want to hear it, click off. But Rocket's backstory is tragic. I can't even talk about it without, because it deals with real life situations. It deals with like animal cruelty, and how people actually, some sick people in this world actually treat animals, and how they try to mutate them, but usually end up killing them. And it's like, to take such a real problem in this world and use it the way that this movie does is unlike any message that I've seen or any message that I've seen put into any movie, or any message that is tried to put in any movie. Because it's like, it also takes like searching within yourself and finding out who you truly are, like that kind of self exploration, and those are two things that are very serious and very real in this world that not a lot of movies deal with. So for Marvel to take that and make these characters that we fall in love with within a matter of an hour and a half is just masterful storytelling. And I mean, I don't have anything else to say about the the incredible storyline. It's just, I mean, it's almost inspiring. Like when you leave a theater thinking about the message of a movie, and still thinking about the message of a movie. We'll go on, we'll move on. I just wanted to, I knew I was going to go off about the story. It's just, it's heartbreaking, it really is. Something happier. one of the main characters in this movie is Cosmo the space dog, which is nice. I love Cosmo. He's the dog that the like Soviets sent up into space, and then he gets taken by the Ravengers. I think it's supposed to be a she. She's great. I love her. She's my favorite character in this whole movie. So this is when, and then the what's his name? Adam Warlock then comes and tries to kill Rocket, and then the main story is set into place. The music in this movie, banger soundtrack. They have some of the 70s stuff, but they have some newer stuff because of Quill having an iPod, an MP3 instead of a cassette in this one. One of the songs that I loved is Alice Cooper. I'm always chasing rainbows. That's a Judy Garland song. It's not an Alice Cooper original, which gives a whole different meaning to that song when it's sung by Judy Garland. But that song is mainly about having your dreams crushed, basically. And it's off of Alice Cooper Goes to Hell, which is an amazing album, and this is an amazing song because it like transitions into an original called Going Home, which is kind of about Alice leaving whatever place he's in to go home to his family. But that's more about the concept of that concept album. Not really about the movie. I'm just a huge Alice Cooper fan, and I loved it when I knew this song. I knew the song before the movie came out. So I loved it when the soundtrack was released, and I loved the place that they put it in, because I thought they were going to put it in somewhere where somebody dies, but thankfully none of the Guardians die in this movie. I thought somebody was, but nobody didn't, thankfully. So they put this in where the Guardians go to the world that this guy is trying to create. And this guy is basically creating these, like, creatures to create this, like, perfect society, what he calls it. And they're kind of driving around, walking around this place, and it looks exactly like Earth. And they're like, I forget who says it, it's Nebula that says it. And Nebula says, this is a perfect society? And that song is playing in the background. And that's like amazing symbolism for the world today. Because some people think this is a perfect society. But not to get like too like real here, or like too political, but like some people think this is the perfect society while people's neighbors are getting shot for no reason. So like that's perfect symbolism for what is the problems of the world today, or any day. So I don't know if I can't really go on without, yes I can. I can say stuff about, Nebula. Karen Gillan. I believe that's her name, right? Yeah, Karen Gillan. Thank you, Steve. Karen Gillan. She is amazing in this movie. She is a very underrated MCU actor. I think Nebula is a great character. And she has shined in a lot of movies, but doesn't get the recognition that she deserves, I believe. And in this movie, she finally gets the almost forefront. Nebula is almost the main character of this film, kind of. So, it was good to see a stellar performance out of her. And everyone is great in this movie, acting-wise, but I really felt that she was the star, so I wanted to point that out. I can't go on without talking about spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, please go to the time marker on the screen, in 3, 2, 1. So, Rocket is saved. They do a bait and switch 2 times in this movie. Once with Rocket, because you think he's gonna die. They show his friends that were killed by the high evolutionist, and they show him in almost heaven, but his soul is put put back into his body, kind of, but he survives. And then the second time is Quill. I really thought Quill was gonna die in this movie, but every Guardians of the Galaxy movie, they fake his death, and they did it again in this one, so I shouldn't have believed it, but I did. Also, Gamora. Gamora doesn't know who any of the Guardians are, because she is, like 2013? 14? She would be 13. 2013 Gamora, right? Because Endgame, they went back. Yeah, it would be. Yeah, no, it would be 2014. It's 2014 Gamora, technically. So she doesn't know any idea who the Guardians are, because real Gamora died in Endgame. So it's really interesting to see her change throughout the movie, and start to like the Guardians more, because she's a Ravager, and she's literally not with the Guardians. But it's good to see her change. And again, the Alice Cooper song, I absolutely love this song. You see her looking at pictures of young Peter Quill and stuff. So that starts to change, her character starts to change, and I thought that was amazing. So at the end of the movie, the high evolutionist captures Nebula, Mantis, and Drax, and then they have to save them off the ship. But they discover that children are being held in literal cages because they're going to be experimented on. And some of them are being experimented on now because this guy wants to make a perfect society, so he needs to experiment on. He wants to experiment on children, and this guy is the high evolutionist is a sick, and I don't mean that in a good way. Is a horrible human being and villain. There is nothing that this guy does. Like, this guy is a psychopath, and you. There is nothing that this guy does throughout this entire film that will make you like him. And it's scary because, again, there's people like this in the world. And like I said, I came out of the theater thinking about this kind of stuff, and it makes you really think about, wow, there's people like this. There's real people that experiment on animals, experiment on children. And I'm not going to go down that road again, but it just, some of the things in this movie really, really make you think. And that's what, in my eyes, that's what makes it so great. But anyway, so they have to save these children, and then they also save a whole bunch of the animals, which is really nice to see. Because Rocket gets his kind of revenge on the high evolutionist and finally defeats him and kills him after finding out that he truly is a raccoon. And he, for the first time, he calls himself Rocket Raccoon, which is always, like, it's really cool when whenever, like, stuff directly from the comics come like that we haven't seen yet. So yeah. And then speaking of stuff coming directly from the comics, the two post-credit scenes. Basically, at the Guardians, like, disband at the end of the movie. So the two post-credit scenes, we see Giant Groot, which is kind of directly from the comics. And I think that that's going to be the new Guardians. I think that, well, Rocket is definitely going to, with that band of people that we see in the end credit scene, I really think that Rocket is going to go with them and become their captain. Now, if we see any more Guardians of the Galaxy movies, no. But will we see the Guardians at some point? I do believe that we will. I know we will see Star-Lord, because of the legendary Star-Lord will return on the second post-credit scene. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know if this has been made or if they're going to make this. I wouldn't be surprised if we got like a Marvel show that Star-Lord is a kid, and seeing him train with Yondu. We haven't gotten that, right? No. Like, I'm surprised that hasn't happened yet. But for the future of Guardians, they're not making any more Guardians movies. They can't, because they're not going to make it without James Gunn, and he's going to DC. So, yeah, two cool post-credit scenes. If you're bummed that this is the last movie, that basically confirms that you're going to see the Guardians at some point. Welcome back, people who didn't want spoilers. Like I was saying, this is the last Guardians movie. So, for it to end this way is awesome. And I cannot wait for James Gunn to make DC movies. I am so excited for The Flash, it's not even funny. Because I just love James Gunn as a director. And Marvel is in serious trouble with him leaving. I think everyone, basically everyone knows this, but they're in serious trouble. And it's already happened, really, but DC is going to take over Marvel with like the quality of their movies is already above Marvel standards. But it's going to be DC's quality is going to be over Marvel. Like, that's going to be the norm. And it's going to happen with Flash. That's when it's going to start. It's already kind of started, but that's really going to be when it's the norm after Flash. So Marvel, James Gunn leaving is a massive thing, and I don't think a lot of people actually realize how massive that is. Yeah, but it is. Anyway, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 itself is amazing. I would say it's in my top 10 Marvel movies. And for a 2023 Marvel movie, that's pretty good. So, my official ranking of it is going to be tough, but I'm going to give it a 9.3 out of 9. I'm going to give it a 9.3 out of 10. It's just delivered in every single way. And the one thing I didn't talk about was the comedy. James Gunn knows how to make a comedic Marvel movie. I mean, the delivery of these jokes are just, like, compared to Love and Thunder, is like night and day. Like, it's astounding how much better Guardians is than Love and Thunder when delivering jokes. So, 9.3 out of 10 for me on Guardians of the Galaxy 3. If you haven't seen it, make sure to go see it. It is worth the $15 or whatever you have to pay to go see it in the theater. So, I hope you enjoyed this review. If you saw Guardians of the Galaxy, let me know down in the comments. And while you're down there, leave a like and consider subscribing. It would make me a very happy man. And with that, I will see you all in the next one. Have a magical day, everybody.